Hello students, welcome to Pathsala. I am Ariyar Sudan, Assistant Professor, Department of Textile Technology, Kumarur College of Technology, Coimbatore. I am going to handle the title Finishing Agents with respect to the stiffening agent, cross-linking agent with respect to the textile materials. Basically, the finishing is the integral part of the textiles. Without finishing, fabrics cannot be sold to the desired customers. Finishing is the sequence of operations other than scouring, bleaching and coloring, by which fabrics are improved in appearance and feel and provide desirable as well as essential properties. Fabric coming directly from the loom is unattractive. To make the fabric attractive and acceptable to the consumer, several finishing processes are applied. Now I am going to take only two parts: stiffening agents with respect to the stiffening the textile material based on the sizing or other stiffening agents, and the second part is a cross-linking agents. So cross-linking agents is mainly used to remove the crease formed in the fabrics, like wrinkle resistance in the textile materials. Objective of finishing: the objective of finishings are to improve the appearance of fabric, that is to make it more attractive by operations like coloring process, optical whitening agents and other mechanical finishes. To improve the feel of the fabric by softening, stiffening. To cover faults in the original fabric. To improve wearing qualities of cloth by making it shrink resistant, crease resistant or free from pills and soiling. To make garments hold their shape and enable them to be worn without ironing. To impart special properties to the fabric for specific end use like flame retardant, water repellent. To set the texture of certain fabrics and make them dimensionability stable. To produce stronger and more durable fabrics. Selection of finishes. Selection of the finishes generally depends on the following factors: contents of fabric, which means type of fiber and yarn used in the fabric; thread count, that is number of yarns present in 1 square inch of fabric; methods of fabric construction, like types of weave present in the fabric; hand, weight, drapability qualities; end use of the fabric or garment based on the consumer point of view. Stiffening agents. Temporary stiffening. Fabrics, particularly cotton and linen, are given a temporary stability and stiffness by application of a firming agent, which is often a solution of starch. It is commonly known as starching or temporary finishing of stiffening agents. When this process is done while preparing warp for weaving, it is called sizing or dressing. The term dressing is generally used for the warp of wool. Other than starch, the substances used for stiffening fabrics are flour, dextrine, glue, shellac, fats, wax and paraffin. Sometimes clay, chalk, barium sulfate, calcium sulfate or magnesium sulfate are also used for stiffening of cotton material. At times back, starching is also done, in which only the back side of the fabric is starching. Temporary stiffening is required to retain the freshness of fabric till it is not used for making any product. Stiffening also allows the fabric to be cut more easily into patterns or textile products. Permanent stiffening agents. The fabric which are permanently stiffened usually need less laundering and therefore become more durable. Permanent stiffening is done by chemical processes that change the cellular structure of the fiber. This process makes the fabric smoother and dirt resistant, as dirt tends to slide rather than cling onto the fabrics. Some of the permanent finishes are Encore, Bosco, Clear Right, Contrast, Sailizing, Chergraph, Stage Right and Durban-Shine. They all give the fabric such properties as tensile strength, luster, shrinkage resistance, crispness, abrasion resistance and improve the appearance of the fabric. Durbanizing is done to avoid the need for starching fabric for its life. This can be done through 3 methods. The parts to be stiffened, like collar, cuff, belts, are interlined with a thermoplastic fiber or with cellulosic acetate, or the fabric may be coated with synthetic resins. The thermoplastic fibers melt and bond with garment when pressed with a hot iron, producing a stiffened fabric. When cellulose acetate is used, it is softened by acetone, which is also heat pressed onto the fabric, giving permanent stiffness. A coating of resin is also heat pressed onto the fabric. Cross-linking agent is mainly used for grease resist finish. It is well known that certain types of polymers must be cross-linked before they develop elastic properties. Elastomers are materials that readily recover from deformation stresses. Since the case has been made that chain slippage under moist conditions is responsible for wrinkling, it is logical to reason that cross-linker adjacent cellulosic chain should be a way of improving grease recovery. Time has shown that this theory does indeed work, so the mechanism for improving cotton's resilience is to cross-link cellulose chain with appropriate reactants. Cross-linking agents for cellulosic material. The hydroxyl groups on the unhydroxyl glucose units of the cellulose polymer backbone are functional groups that can undergo typical reactions involving alcohols. Organic acids, isocyanates, epoxy, and aldehyde all react with hydroxyl groups to form the corresponding reactant products. Over the years, nearly all known reactions involving alcohols have been investigated as possible cellulose cross-linkers. Formaldehyde and non-formaldehyde derivatives were among the earliest one discovered and have stood the test of time in terms of effectiveness and cost. They are still the mainstay of today's chemistry. History of grease recovery. In the 1920s, the managing director of Total Broadhurst and Lee challenged his research chemists to make cotton fabric as wrinkle resistant as silk. It was known that formaldehyde would react with cellulose. However, formaldehyde is not a pleasant material to work with. Irritate mucous membranes, causes runny noses and watery eyes. The chemist discovered that phenol or formaldehyde condensates would also cross-link cotton at the same time, reduce the formaldehyde risk. Unfortunately, the phenol formaldehyde resins caused the cotton fabric to become severely discolored and extensively bordered. Soon thereafter, they discovered that urea formaldehyde resins also improved grease recovery and did so without discoloring the fabric. While not completely free of formaldehyde odor, these resins could be handled on commercial equipments. From the 1930s until 1961, cotton fabrics were cross-linked with a number of N-methylyl compounds to give fabrics that were classified as wash and wear or easy care fabrics. Several other names were associated with the fabrics, example grease resistant finish, no iron, and grease recovery finish. The performances of these fabrics were pretty good. As will be made clearer in ensuing discussions, the best balance of improved ease of care properties to fabric strength loss was struck. All of these fabrics were treated at mill in the flat state. Cellulose crosslinks can be divided into two categories: those that are dominantly cross-linked cellulose, also known as cellulose reactants, and those that self-polymerize as well as cross-linked cellulose. Both types involve the reactions chemistry of formaldehyde, so a review of pertinent formaldehyde chemistry will help in understanding how these auxiliaries are reacted. Reactions of formaldehyde. Formaldehyde is capable of reacting with many active hydrogen compounds like hydroxyl, nitrile, and activated CH groups. Formation of hydroxymethyl derivatives based on the alcohols. Hydroxymethyl derivatives is formed based on the formaldehyde groups to form the hemiacetal, with the amides to form the N-methylyl formations, and based on the activated carbon or hydrogen to form the hydroxymethyl groups. The hydroxymethyl groups formed in the first reactions is also capable of undergoing a second reactions. The second reactions also involves activated hydrogen described above and result in the formation of methylene link, that is CH2, between the reacting species. Usually these reactions occur on acid catalyst under heat. Second reactions are hydroxymethyl groups. The hydroxyl methyl groups are formed based on the alcohols reacted with the formaldehyde to form the acetyl groups, and N-methylyl groups are formed based on the formaldehyde to form the methylene bridges and alkoxy derivatives. So second one is the resin formers, that is called as the aminoplasm. There are two major types of formaldehyde condensates that fall into the resin former category: urea formaldehyde and melamine formaldehyde. These condensates are capable of self-cross-link to form resinous three-dimensional polymers as well as cross-linking cellulose. They find non-textile applications as plastic, adhesive, and are also used to modify other polymeric systems. Because of the tendency of self-condensate, the two mentioned above are often called aminoplasts. The tendency to self-cross-link adds stiffness to fabric. While stiffness may be undesirable on some fabric, it can be an asset, as for example when hand builders are needed to enhance fabric properties. Resin-based formaldehyde finishes, urea formaldehyde. The reactions of an amide NH and formaldehyde HCHO to form urea formaldehyde is often termed methylation because the reaction product is called an N-methyl groups. Accordingly, urea can be methylated with up to 4 moles of formaldehyde and other reactions product used as crease resistant finish. When 2 moles of formaldehyde is reacted with 1 moles of urea, dimethyl urea is formed. Being difunctional, it is capable of serving as cross-linking agents. How to synthesize dimethyl urea? So, dimethyl urea is reacted with the formaldehyde and N-methyl to form the dimethyl urea. So, important features of these finishes: the condensate has an extremely short shelf life. It must be used within a few days after it's made. When formulated with catalyst, the finish bath must be used within a few hours. The solution has high free formaldehyde and will readily literate formaldehyde into the workplace. It is easy to cure on fabrics and imparts outstanding crease recovery. Fabric hand becomes stiffer, which is usually undesirable for many cotton fabrics. Most rayon fabrics are very limp compared to cotton, so that added firmness is desirable. Finished fabrics have poor durability to repeated laundry. Crease recovery is lost because the crosslinks have poor stability to hydrolysis. The finish adversely affects the light fastness of direct and fiber with respect to the reactive days. To finish reacts with hypochlorite bleaches to form a reaction product which decomposes with the heat to form hydrochloric acid. Degradation of the cellulose torches the fabric and causes it to become very much weaker. Finished fabric is prone to literate formaldehyde odor. Released formaldehyde is high. Overcured fabric also develop an unpleasant fish odor. Second one is melamine formaldehyde based finishes. Melamine can react with up to 6 moles of formaldehyde to form a variety of products. Commercially, trimethyl and hexamethyl melamines are the more important condensates. In storage, the hydroxymethyl N-methyl groups tend to polymerize and liberate formaldehyde. By converting them to the methoxymethyl derivatives, the shelf life is much improved. Most of the commercial products are methylated. Synthesis of hexamethyloxymethyl melamine. The corresponding methoxy and hexamethyl methyl condensates are made by increasing the formaldehyde melamine mole ratio of 6:1. The important features of this finish: the tri products produce warmer hands than the hexa derivatives and are extensively used as hand builders for fabrics other than cotton. Durability to repeated laundering is much better than urea formaldehyde based finishes. This feature is a plus for permanent hand builders. Chlorine bleaches cause the fabrics to yellow. However, the reaction products does not decompose with the heat to liberate hydrochloric acid and tender the fabric. They are used in combination with phosphorus flame retardant as a source of nitrogen. Nitrogen synergism enhances phosphorus flame retardant, and melamine is an excellent source of nitrogen. They are used as finishes for reducing wool shrinkage. The reactant of these finishes with respect to the textile material do not form three-dimensional polymers by self-condensation. When applied to cellulose, they mainly cross-link adjacent polymer molecules. The commercially important ones are derived from ethylene urea, 4,5-dihydroxyethylene urea, and hydroxyethylene carbonate. There is wealth of literature published about these and related compounds. The reader is urged to consult these references for greater depth. Dimethylate urea. The starting material for making dimethylethylene urea is the ethylene urea, a 5-member heterocyclic nitrogen compound. It is made by reacting ethylene diamine with urea. Ethylene urea contains 2 NH groups capable of reacting with formaldehyde and forms a difunctional product. Since there are no other active hydrogen sites, the N-methylated products cannot be self-condensate. The important features are it was widely used prior to 1961 as a wash and wear finish. The product has moderately good shelf-life, much better than aminoplast. Even with the catalyst mixed in, the bath life is more than adequate for most commercial applications. Dimethylene ethylene urea is usually cured. It will begin to cure at 90 to 100 degrees Celsius. It is highly efficient and gives good wrinkle recovery with nominal losses in fabric strength. The product does affect lightfastness of certain direct and reactive dyed material. Chlorine resistance is poor even though there are no remaining NH groups. Hydrolysis resistance is poor. Crosslinks are not durable to laundering, especially industrial laundering conditions. Another agents dimethyl 4,5-dihydroxyethylene urea is the workhouse durable press finish. Some of its modified version account for over 85% of all crease resistant chemicals consumed today. Dimethyl dihydroxyethylene urea achieved this prominent role in 1961 when delay cure processing came into being. In the trade, dimethylene dihydroxyethylene urea is often referred to as glycol resins. This jargon came as a way to distinguish it from dimethylene ethylene urea in that glycol was used to make the starting monomer. The starting heterocyclic is made by reacting stoichiometric amount of urea and glycoxyl. The reaction is straightforward and can be carried out in regular laboratory glasswares. The methylation steps is also straightforward, while the synthesis of the dimethylene dihydroxyethylene urea is made directly in one step. Urea and formaldehyde and glycoxyl are all combined together and heated. The extent of reaction is followed by monitoring the free formaldehyde content. The product is sold as 46% solution. The important features of dimethylene dihydroxyethylene urea is the commercial product has low free formaldehyde, which make it easy to handle in finishing plant. It does not liberate formaldehyde from the reverse reactions as rapidly as do other reagents. The product has extremely good shelf life and even finish baths with catalyst present are stable for prolonged periods of time. Fabric temperature exceeding 130 degrees Celsius are needed before the cross-linking reaction takes place. This feature is responsible for why it has become the dominant durable press finish. The reactant does not cross-link and storage of fabric can be left in a sensitized state for over 6 months before post-curing. Hydrolysis resistance of cellulose crosslinks are much better than dimethylene ethylene urea, so durability to laundering is very acceptable. Resistance to chlorine bleach is also acceptable. While this finish reduces the lightfastness of direct and reactive dyed material, it is better than dimethylene ethylene urea. And another one cross-linking agents, carbonate. Carbonates are family of related compounds that also react with formaldehyde to form N-methyl derivatives. A general structure of the starting compound is shown in the below. This structure is also called as urethane, so carbonates are simple urethanes. The alkyl groups can be methyl, ethyl, propyl and hydroxyethyl. The methyl and ethyl carbonates are carcinogenic and no longer used. The propyl and hydroxyethyl are safe and are used today. Carbonates react with formaldehyde to form N-methyl derivatives. They can react with up to 2 moles of the N-methyl groups. The reactions is difficult to derive to completion of the equilibrium is such that the best that can be done in 1:7 to 1:8. This leads to products that have high free formaldehyde. The important features of this finish have good durable press finish properties. These products are harder to cure and require stronger catalysts under higher curing conditions. This leads to greater losses in strength and abrasion resistance. The crosslinks are extremely stable to alkaline hydrolysis and stand up well to the rigors of commercial laundries. Fabrics treated with carbonates are well suited for industrial laundering applications such as rental uniform and hospital linen. Chlorine resistance is good. The commercial products have high free formaldehyde leading up to fabric with high formaldehyde release finishes. Thank you, learners. Now I am conclude my topics. First, stiffening agents. Stiffening agent is used to give the stiffen to the textile material with respect to the applications of chemical agents like sizing agents and starch and polyvinyl alcohols. Second topic is the cross-linking agent is used to remove the wrinkles present in the material, that is crease formed in the textile material. It's easily removed based on the chemical applications to block the hydroxyl groups present in the cotton material with respect to the resin material. Thank you.